body fat. Are you really as low as you think you are? Probably not. What's up, guys? Summer's just right around the corner. It's the middle of March. Everybody's talking about getting lean, how lean they are, how many pounds they've dropped, how many percent body fats they've dropped, all that good stuff, right? Well, you know, every time somebody tells me what their body fat percentage is, I don't even listen. And honestly, guys, I'm not a huge advocate of how much body fat I have. I don't really give a shit about the numbers. The numbers mean nothing to me. I'm more focused on what I look like in the mirror, how I feel. Yes, I check every now and then. I check my weight. I don't check really body fat that much. But if I had to guess, I'm probably sitting around 10 at best, 12, 13 at worst, okay? So you can kind of see my abs a little when I flex. But when I'm not flexing, they're not all visible all the way there. So guys, it's a big misconception. A lot of people tend to underestimate their percentage. They think they're a lot lower than they typically are. I walk around anywhere from 10 to 13%, and I know that, and I know what, guys, if you're walking around 8 or under, you're sitting there and you're not really having to flex too hard to see your abs. Very visible, all 6, okay? All 6. Lower than 6%, and you're starting to, if you have the genetics for an 8-pack, you're starting to see that those lower 2 come in. But that's a very genetic thing. But guys, I see all the time, like, oh, I'm sitting at 215, 8% body fat, and you can't see a fucking ab, like not even one. It's just one. There, you can tell their core is nice and strong, but they're not separated. You can't see the linear alba, the middle part of the abs. You can't see that. So if you can't see that, guys, you're not even close to being 8%. You're not even probably under in the single digits. You're probably sitting about 15%, which is not bad. That's better than the majority of the population. I typically walk around at 12, 13%, and I'm okay with that because you know, I know I can drop those final percentages and get really lean in photo shoot shape. But even when I'm in photo shoot shape, the photo shoot I did in Santa Monica, I probably wasn't about 10, maybe 10 at best, probably closer to 11, 11 and a half. You can see in some of those photos where I'm not as flexed, they're not as clearly defined. And some of them, they are more clearly defined. So guys, that's what I walk around at. I just want to dismiss some of the myths because, you know, you're not as lean as you probably think you are, and it's okay. Just don't get caught up in the numbers. Who gives a fuck about how lean you are? Like, nobody's gonna come up and give you a raise at your job because you're 8% body fat. Like, nobody really cares. And to me, it just discredits you as a motivator and as somebody who knows what they're talking about when you don't give an adequate number about your own body fat. It just means you're ignorant to the situation. Now, that's okay. Like, I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. But I'm not sitting here walking around saying, oh, I'm 6% body fat, 175 pounds. You know, I don't really care about that, guys. I'll throw around some numbers sometimes just because people like to challenge my credibility, especially with the intermittent fasting. You know, they say you can't get bigger, you can't get stronger. So I like to defy the odds, prove people wrong more so than anything else. So, guys, body fat percentages, who really gives a shit, okay? But if you're gonna walk around and tell how lean you are, you better have fucking something to back it up. Don't just guesstimate it in the mirror. Because if you're saying you're 215 at 8% body fat and I can't see a fucking ab, get out of here, man. Kiss my ass, dude. Like, who cares? I don't care. But don't post that, because people look around and say, it's hilarious to me, because I've heard this time and time again. It's like, oh yeah, 250, about 10% body fat, and I'm like, no, I know you're not leaner than me. I know for a fact half the people out there claiming that they have single-digit body fats aren't leaner than me, and I'm not in single digits, guys, and I'm okay with that. I can tell you what I'm at. You know, I'm a little fatter, I guess you can say, than I would like to be. I'm gonna cross the street here, so make sure you gotta look both ways, right, left, and so I'm a little bit fatter than I'd like to be. I got some things coming up I'm trying to shred up for, but I've put on some muscle, so you have to have that mindset too, not just about dropping weight, but it's about dropping the fat. So earlier this year I posted, I was like 158, that was around Christmas time. I'm sitting around 170 right now, and that's 3 months later. I was pretty lean then, honestly, maybe 9% at best. I may not have cracked the double digits, but I may have actually, because that's the leanest I've been in quite a while. My strength's gone up through the roof since I've put on some more weight, and that's fine. You have to know that too, guys. You have to know that the leaner you are, the more you sacrifice the strength, okay? So there's a point of diminishing returns. There's, probably no reason to go above 12, 15% body fat if you're going for optimal strength. But if you're going for straight aesthetics, you have to know in the mind that you're going to drop some strength, okay? That's just the way it is. So everything has a trade-off. You want to be super lean, super shredded, you got to know that you're not going to be hitting PRs on deadlifts all the time. PR on squat, PR on bench. You're just not going to do it. That's just not the way it works, okay? So the trade-off is critical to keep in mind, because you start thinking it's like, oh dang, I'm going backwards in my journey. No. It's all about the goal. Optimal strength, optimal body composition. You have to know that goal. Yes, you can have both. And if you want both, probably sit about right where I'm at right now, about 10 to 12% body fat. And you can be lean, you can have abs, you can go out and enjoy some great food, burgers, sushi. I mean, I eat sushi probably 3-4 times a week. I love sushi, especially being out in Southern California, taking advantage of it. But, if you want to get a little bit leaner, you got to cut back on that stuff. Still strength train, but go those 5 reps as heavy as you can, but know that they're not going to be as heavy as they are when you're walking around a little bit heavier and a little bit more body fat on you. But like I said, 15%, no reason to go over that. There's a point of diminishing returns. If you go over 15%, I don't see any extra benefit. So don't use bulk season as an excuse to eat whatever you want. And you guys know how I feel about cutting and bulking. Not a fan. I want to look good year round for things that I do and my mindset, and I want to be ready year round. So that's why I use intermittent fasting. That's why I don't ever go on bulks and cuts. I mean, in the general sense, sometimes I'll get a wild hair and start eating a little more food, strength training, that's this and that. But for the most part, I stay lean year round. So 10 to 12%. When I really want to dial it back, I get down to 8%. So I'm going to post a picture that I took this morning. I'm sitting at 170 and I'm probably about probably 11, 12% body fat. So I'm gonna post that right now. And so you get a general sense about what that looks like, okay? And then I'll post a picture that I did from a show several years ago where I'm probably 8, okay? So, and it's all tanned up and everything else. I'm not tanned up today, but I am flexing hard. The show, I'm super tan on light, so take that with a grain of salt, take that for whatever it's worth. But nonetheless, guys, final message here is, if you're gonna talk about your body fat, know what the fuck you're talking about. Don't tell me you're 8% when you're fucking 15%. I mean, you're not fooling anybody. You're not doing anything but making yourself look bad, and you're not doing anything beneficial to society. I mean, guys, motivate other people in a positive way. Nobody really gives a shit about how much body fat you have, what your percentage is. Nobody's gonna care about that because nobody even knows what the fuck they're talking about. You give them a wrong body fat percentage and it escalates, and they're like, oh, and people's minds get all messed up, and their views are all scattered out and skeltered. So just who cares, okay? If you're gonna do it, make sure you have some stats to back it up, okay? Have DEXA scan or hydrostatic weighing, or don't give me that pincher bullshit. Maybe some circumference measurements, maybe, I don't know, but have some kind of backing it up. I don't really care about the handheld things that you do either. They're not very accurate. That's why I don't even fuck with it, guys. Just don't mess with body fat percent. Who cares? Get lean. Look, if you like what you see in the mirror, great. If not, work on that diet, work on that training program. That's all there is to it. Don't get caught up in the numbers. If you get caught up chasing numbers, your head gets off, and then your self-worth and accountability is caught up in numbers, and that's a bad place to be. That's where you can get hurt. That's where you can really burn yourself out. So it's not all about the numbers. Taking a bunch of variables into account, and who cares about the body fat, guys? Who cares? It's not that big a deal. It's just a number. Be who you are. Love your body where it's at right now, but always strive for more, man. That's what it's like. Guys, keep a full plate. Stay hungry, my friends. Keep a full plate. Stay hungry, my friends. Yeah, that sounded better. Working on my acting skills, so I'm used to going back and forth. So nonetheless, Beautiful day out here in Southern California, getting a little cardio in. Yeah, not sub 10% body fat. Nope, about 12. I'm gonna go ahead and say 12. Okay, you can see the linear alba. Linear alba's right there. Got the bottoms coming in. Still got a little bit here to lose. The obliques. Obliques not as defined as they usually are on me. They're usually a pretty good part, but that's how I know I'm not as lean as I typically am. So, that's how we'll roll with that, and get leaner. Next couple weeks will be a big determinant on some big things coming up. So, trying to get lean. Not going to focus on strength, but guys, thanks for watching. Stay relentless.